An extraordinary and fantastical city, existing only in the realm of imagination, is shown to us at the beginning of the film. In this fantastical setting, the air, water, clouds, and mud come to life and coexist in perfect harmony. It's a special place, made up of people whose very beings are these things. On this particular day, our story is prompted by the appearance of a new couple. But this is no ordinary couple. Both partners are actually made of fire. Because the residents of this remarkable city view fire as a potential threat, their presence is met with both curiosity and suspicion. The fire couple has a long road ahead of them as they explore this strange city. The first problem they face is locating a place to live, as no one is willing to let them rent from them because of the widespread suspicion. The couple will need all of their strength and fortitude to get through the challenges ahead. The firefighter couple finds solace in a rundown building they discover in the midst of their hardships. They decide to take responsibility for the building and make it their own by restoring it. When a beautiful baby girl named Amber is born into their family, their happiness is multiplied beyond measure. They explain to Amber that the blue flame is the key to understanding their existence and where their power comes from. As she develops into a strong young woman, Amber takes to heart the trust placed in her to guard this spark. The fire couple starts out with a small home business, but over time it grows into a thriving community store for their fellow firefolk. As a special treat for their one-of-a-kind society, they make lava balls and wood chips. Now that her father is getting older and weaker, Amber must take over the business and keep the family's dream alive. Amber is a great manager of the store, but her explosive temper is always a problem. When she loses it, she can wreak havoc on her family's store and their ability to provide for themselves. Amber's father gives her sound advice she'll find useful. Make eye contact with people, even when you're angry, to diffuse tensions. Amber takes this advice to heart and works to control her anger by developing meaningful relationships with her clients. Her explosive temper, however, remains a problem. She loses her cool with a customer one day and storms down to the basement to collect herself. Amber's desperation leads her to become angry, and this sets off a series of unfortunate events. When she gets angry, the sewage pipes in the basement burst and flood the area below. The city's fire people may not survive this sudden downpour. As the tide rises, a waterman by the name of Wade appears out of nowhere. He also happens to be a city inspector. Wade is responsible for reporting the severe plumbing problems he has discovered to his superior officer. Amber's favorite shop may have to close its doors as a result of this discovery. Amber, realizing the gravity of the situation, decides she must stop Wade at any cost. She joins him on the train, which is a bad idea given that she is made of fire. Amber reaches out to Wade in an attempt to reclaim the complaint, but she is unsuccessful. She transforms into a terrifying oil-fueled monster in an effort to thwart Wade at the last minute. Her goal is to scare him, but her tactics fail. As Wade is about to file a complaint, Amber breaks down in tears. Saddened by the prospect of losing her father's trust and seeing their store close, she sits morosely. After being moved to action by her plight, Wade takes her to a higher-ranking officer. But the senior officer is unmoved, and she still won't let the case against Amber's shop go away. Amber, frustrated and angry at the rejection, sets fire to the complaint, which only makes matters worse. Amber is despondent, but there is nothing else she can do, so she sends the complaint on. Amber returns home from a long day to find her father working tirelessly to fix the leaking pipes. Their future as a business is uncertain now that all their customers have left. Amber's mom talks about how they used to live in a city inhabited by fire people before a terrible storm drove them to seek shelter in this elemental city, and how she's afraid history might repeat itself. Amber learns the extent of the hardships endured by her loved ones in pursuit of their goals. She is so adamant about preventing any harm to their shop that the next day she goes looking for Wade to tell him about it. Wade takes her to a stadium, but once there, Amber forgets about her problems and focuses solely on the game. Because of this accidental diversion, she and her boss, Cloud, who looks like a cloud, get into an argument. As the situation escalates, Wade steps in and tries to get Cloud to focus on helping his struggling son. Wade's positive attitude and words of support help propel the young player to a victory. Cloud is overjoyed, and in his elation, he listens to Wade's request that he reconsider closing Amber's shop. Amber goes home feeling encouraged by the report. The future of her shop is in jeopardy as they try to track down the leak. When Amber's father becomes suspicious of Wade, Wade says that he is a food inspector, and the situation calms down. They band together to collect sand and use it to plug the cracks in the dam. Amber's temper flares up in the midst of their toil, turning the sand into crystal. In a surprising turn of events, they learn that Amber's special ability to control fire can be used to turn common sand into a valuable commodity. After realizing the potential of her newfound ability, Amber fixes the damaged door to the dam. The crisis is averted thanks to her efforts. Her father, however, is still clueless about the extent of her skills and the threat she poses to the family business. Amber's inner turmoil continues despite her many accomplishments. She struggles to control her rage and accept her feelings for Wade, despite the cultural barriers between the elements of fire and water. Amber's mother has picked up on her daughter's feelings and is trying to intervene by telling her that a union between fire and water is impossible. Amber's mother puts Amber and Wade through a test of endurance, using the unique water to determine if the two are truly meant to be together. Amber and her mother are taken aback by Wade's resourceful use of his water-based abilities, which forces them to rethink their assumptions about chemical and electrical compatibility. In this time period, Amber's father throws a party in which he plans to officially transfer store ownership to his daughter. The store was never his goal. All he ever wanted was for her to be happy. But he doesn't know about Amber's recent behavior and worries about the shop's security. Amber's admission that she was to blame for the store's problems crushed her father's hopes, and he stormed out of the building. Amber, who blames herself for her family's suffering, seeks refuge on a bridge high above the city. She sees the broken dam gates in the distance, which pose a new danger to the city. Amber is heartbroken as the water surges toward the city, threatening the lives of the fire people who live there. Their blue flame is nearly extinguished, and her father begs her to save it. Amber musters her entire being to defend the shop, but to no avail. A desperate twist of fate. Luckily, Wade is on his way to help. They put in a lot of effort together to keep the water out, and Wade is in charge of locking the door. With her fire powers, Amber creates a barrier of molten sand to shield the blue flame. The crystal barrier breaks, and a wave of water floods their safe haven as the intensity of the water increases. Amber thinks her blue flame has gone out, but Wade has actually kept it alive. The city of the elementals is completely submerged, and all hope has been lost. Amber's parents, obviously heartbroken over the loss of their blue flame, show up at the shop. Amber's mother is the first to recognize her daughter's distress, and she knows that Amber's pain is greater than anyone else's. Amber's dad is upset because he thinks his daughter failed to safeguard the family's sacred flame. Amber's mom steps in and spills the beans about her daughter's undying devotion to Wade and the lengths to which she went to keep their family business afloat. Amber's actions were motivated by love for her family, and her father is torn between his anger and this realization. They hear the sound of water just as hope begins to fade and despair begins to set in. Wade, having been evaporated by the extreme heat but miraculously revived, appears before them. Their families are deeply touched by the love that brings Amber and Wade back together. Amber's parents have reconciled with Wade and now support their daughter's relationship with him. They're holding hands, a metaphor for the fusion of fire and water and the understanding that love has no limits. The film ends with the elemental city in ruins, but its people having overcome all odds through their strength and love for one another. The fact that Amber and Wade were able to persevere through so much hardship together is a testament to the strength of love. The film ends on a note of optimism, unity, and the conviction that love can triumph over any circumstance.